Chapter 13. Turning the tables. The members of the enforcement team escorted Feng Deking and Lin Yuan to the enforcement hall. At the same time, Zhao Doglai went along to observe the progress of the situation. In the enforcement hall, Captain Huang sat down on the judgment seat. In the hall below, Feng Deking and Lin Yuan stood on opposite sides. Captain Huang looked at Lin Yuan and said,
Lin Yuan, the spirit grass apprentice, do you admit to abusing the spirit field, causing a downgrade in its quality?
Lin Yuan shook his head and replied, I do not admit it. I am a newly promoted outer disciple, and I have only been here for a month. How could I have damaged the spirit field all of a sudden? I also want to report that this piece of land collapsed due to Feng Deking's private misuse of it. Captain Huang turned to Feng Deking.
Director Feng, do you have anything to say?
Feng Deking laughed and took out a storage bag.
Here are the spirit grasses Lin Yuan just handed in, all in good condition. This quality can only be cultivated with spirit absorption liquid. Inside his spirit field, there's another season of spirit grass not yet harvested, which means he harvested 2 seasons of spirit grass within a month. This is enough to prove he's exploiting the field.
Captain Huang waved his hand, and his subordinates brought the storage bag over. Captain Huang shook the bag, pouring out the spirit grass inside. He pointed to the spirit grass and asked Lin Yuan,
Is this the spirit grass you handed in?
Lin Yuan calmly replied, These are indeed the spirit grasses I handed in. But this bag of spirit grasses was borrowed from my friend XIII, and I only planted 1 season from start to finish. Captain Huang said,
Call your friend here.
Lin Yuan picked up the disciple token and tried to contact XIII, but couldn't reach her. She should be in seclusion. I can't reach her for now, Lin Yuan said. Captain Huang stared at him coldly.
Failure to reach her means no witness. Well, you've exploited the spirit field for your own gain. Do you understand the consequences?
Lin Yuan shook his head. Indeed, this spirit grass was borrowed from my friend, Feng Deking said.
Captain Huang, even if his friend comes, she may still protect him. All I know is that he gave me a season's worth of spirit grass, and there's 1 season in the field. Oh, and I saw him once with a green bottle, dripping a few drops into the water tank. That's probably the spirit absorption liquid he used.
Lin Yuan stared at Feng Deking with wide eyes, and pointed at him, saying, This green bottle isn't mine, it's given by Feng Deking. Feng Deking gave him a cold smile and sneered.
You can eat meals randomly, but you can talk nonsense. I've never given you any green bottle.
You? Lin Yuan angrily said. Captain Huang slammed the table and said coldly,
Lin Yuan, do you have a green bottle on you? Tell the truth. Otherwise, he'll search your storage bag according to the law.
Helpless, Lin Yuan could only take out a green bottle. Captain Huang took it and poured the liquid from the green bottle into a jade plate. The dark green liquid with a hint of ice crystals looked exactly like the spirit-gathering liquid. Feng Deking sneered inwardly. He sensed that there was still a tracking mark on the green bottle. So he knew things were under control. Even if Lin Yuan discovered the problem and replaced the spirit-gathering liquid, there would still be residues of it on the bottle, which could be detected. Captain Huang said in a deep voice,
Lin Yuan, do you have anything else to say?
Lin Yuan spoke up. This isn't spirit-gathering liquid. I request an appraisal. Feng Deking sneered.
Are you blind? This liquid looks like spirit-gathering liquid at first glance.
Many things look the same, but they're actually different, Lin Yuan said.
Please summon old Jiang.
Captain Huang waved his hand, and instructed someone to summon the appraiser. 10 minutes later, an old appraiser walked in. He examined the liquid in the jade plate and sniffed it carefully. Then he said to Captain Huang,
This is a kind of unfamiliar spiritual liquid, which has the effect of restoring spiritual power, not spirit-gathering liquid. How is that possible?
Feng Deking frowned.
What about that bottle? There must be traces of spirit-gathering liquid inside.
Oh, why are you so sure?
Lin Yuan smiled.
HMPH, isn't it obvious?
Feng Deking sneered. The old appraiser glanced at Captain Huang. Huang instructed him to continue the appraisal. The old appraiser then examined the green bottle again, and after a moment, said,
This jade bottle is made of spirit-storing jade, and has no traces of spirit-gathering liquid. How is that possible?
Feng Deking was dumbfounded. Lin Yuan smirked inwardly, knowing he had absorbed all the evidence in one breath. There couldn't be any residue left.
Wait a moment. There's no physical evidence, but I have eyewitness testimony. The spirit grass boy from the Jade Garden can attest that on June the 15th, the spirit grass in Lin Yuan's field was only 1 inch 6, but now it's 5 inches. There's clearly a problem.
Feng Deking continued.
Good. Call the witness.
Captain Huang said. Feng Deking immediately summoned the spirit grass boy. Xu Lei, Yang Ziren, and the others quickly gathered. Except for Xie Zierling, everyone was present. Captain Huang asked,
Can you confirm that on June the 15th, the spirit grass in field 18 was only 1 inch 6?
Yes, I can confirm.
花子玩，从所此一天懂了列个列个 offer 一个现在看了。
Several people gave affirmative responses. Captain Huang looked at Lin Yuan and said,
With both witness and physical evidence, what do you have to say?
The witness refers to the spirit grass boy, and the physical evidence refers to the bag of additional spirit grass. Captain Huang and Feng Deking exchanged a glance and smiled simultaneously. Lin Yuan observed this scene. It turned out that Captain Huang had already colluded with Feng Deking. Lin Yuan remained silent, then directly unsealed his spiritual power, causing a surge of energy exceed. In the 6th level of Qi condensation to emanate from him. Everyone looked at Lin Yuan in astonishment.
I, with the cultivation of the 7th level of Qi condensation, demand a retrial by the elders of the Law Enforcement Hall.
Lin Yuan shouted loudly, his voice echoing throughout the Law Enforcement Hall. Everyone was dumbfounded. If Lin Yuan's cultivation were only at the mid-stage of Qi condensation, Captain Huang, as a late-stage Qi condensation cultivator, would have been qualified to judge Lin Yuan's case. But now that Lin Yuan had demonstrated the cultivation of the 7th level of Qi condensation, Captain Huang was no longer qualified. Regardless of any conspiracy they might have had, or if they intended to falsely accuse Lin Yuan, they had no way out. Captain Huang's expression darkened, and Feng Deking's face turned as black as the bottom of a pot. OTH incredulous at Lin Yuan's cultivation level. When did he become a cultivator of the 7th level of Qi condensation? It was truly unbelievable. In fact, Lin Yuan had actually reached the 7th level of Qi condensation, but his level 6 profound and skillful pinnacle Qi cultivation technique allowed him to exhibit the strength of a 7th level cultivator. A middle-aged man who rarely smiled or spoke casually stepped into the Law Enforcement Hall on a flying sword. Captain Huang quickly stood up and greeted respectfully.
Captain Huang Jiajin pays respects to Deputy Hall Master Zhou.
HMM.
Zhou Ping nodded indifferently, sitting in the main seat and asked plainly,
What's the situation with the case?
Captain Huang quickly and accurately explained the situation, neither exaggerating nor altering the facts, because there were always recording stones in the Law Enforcement Hall documenting the entire trial process, and Huang dared not lie. After hearing the entire case, Zhou Ping remained non-committal and looked at Lin Yuan, saying,
Do you have anything else to say? Speak directly.
Lin Yuan bowed and said,
Disciple greets Master Zhou. I would like to request an audience with outer sect disciple Xie Zierling. She is also a spirit grass boy of the Azure Jade Garden.
Zhou Ping nodded, took out his token, and directly connected to the sect's formation. With his authority, he could directly locate the outer sect disciples within the Azure Peak. He pointed to 2 law enforcement disciples and said,
Go to the residence numbered B603 in the outer sect and summon XIII.
Yes, sir.
The 2 law enforcement disciples saluted and immediately rushed towards their target. Feng Deking's heart sank as he felt that things were starting to take a turn for the worse. Lin Yuan bowed and continued.
At the middle of the month, the height of the spirit grass in my spiritual field was indeed only 1 inch and 6, but I didn't use the so-called spirit gathering liquid. Instead, it was because my Rain of Spirits technique has reached the pinnacle level, allowing me to ripen the spirit grass quickly in a short period of time.
What? Data I can hit clarity. The ruin was a base 汉人才在跟第一还是为居家的都应天的人了不
The crowd was astonished. Young Ziren widened her eyes. Lin Yuan's breakthrough to the 7th level of qi condensation was already shocking, but it wasn't impossible, because pills could be consumed, and spirit stones could be used. As long as one was willing to spend spirit stones, it was quite normal to leap 2 or 3 levels. However, spells were different. It really depended on comprehension and talent. Others couldn't help much. Xu Lei's honest smile froze on his face. He was also very surprised. With such talent, how could Lin Yuan remain unknown? Feng Deking couldn't help but exclaim loudly.
This is impossible.
Zhou Ping frowned slightly, a strong pressure suddenly pressing down on everyone, causing their mouths to shut, leaving only expressions of surprise and uncertainty on their faces. Zhou Ping then showed a hint of interest and said,
Since you have mastered the Rain of Spirits technique to the pinnacle level, then demonstrate it.
Yes. Lin Yuan made a single gesture with one hand, without any noticeable movement. Dark clouds formed in the sky above the empty space of the law enforcement hall. In an instant. In less than a second, Lin Yuan had completed the release of the Rain of Spirits technique, even faster than activating a talisman. Lin Yuan's mind stirred, and spiritual power surged forth. Within a second, the dark clouds expanded to cover an area of 100 square meters, and with another shift of his consciousness, the drizzling rain began to fall. Zhou Ping waved his hand, and summoned a few drops of rainwater, praising,
Well done, well done. This is indeed the mastery of the peak level Ling Rain art. With your skill, you qualify to cultivate even the top grade yellow tier spirit herbs.
Lin Yuan blushed shyly and smiled. Feng Deking's face turned ashen. At this moment, he realized that Lin Yuan had been deliberately putting on a show for him for the past half-month. However, how did Lin Yuan know about the Ling liquid? Normal outer disciples wouldn't even recognize such a substance. Now that Lin Yuan had demonstrated the mastery of the peak level Ling Rain art, the possibility of using Ling liquid had been minimized. His Ling Rain art was already comparable to Ling liquid, making it impossible for normal people to continue using Ling liquid. Wasn't this an unnecessary action? If that's the case, then why did the spiritual field's quality decline? Feng Deking's forehead gradually started to sweat. At this moment, 2 law enforcement team members entered with XIII.
What's going on?
XIII looked puzzled as she glanced at everyone, but her gaze quickly focused on Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan remained silent and gestured towards the Deputy Hall Master Zhou. XIII blinked her eyes, and looked at Deputy Hall Master Zhou.
XIII, did you lend a bag of spirit, gathering grass to Lin Yuan before?
Deputy Hall Master Zhou asked in a deep voice.
Yes.
XIII replied without hesitation.
Is it this bag?
Deputy Hall Master Zhou took out a bag of spirit gathering grass from somewhere, and placed it in front of XIII.
Doesn't look like it. The spirit gathering grass I have was grown in my mother's yellow grade high quality spiritual field, much better than this.
XIII looked at it and shook her head.
Then is it this bag?
Deputy Hall Master Joe took out another bag of spirit-gathering grass.
Yes, that's it. That's it. I've counted them all. There are a total of 701 plants inside. You can count them yourself.
Xie Ziyuling nodded. Deputy Hall Master Joe nodded in confirmation and said,
Very well. I can confirm that the bag of spirit-gathering grass Lin Yuan submitted was borrowed from Xie Ziyuling, and not obtained illegally from the spiritual field on the 18th. Feng Deking, do you have any evidence to prove that Lin Yuan has damaged the spiritual field?
No. Feng Deking shook his head, feeling a bit disappointed. It seemed that this report wasn't successful. He began to ponder how to handle the aftermath. He knew he had to make significant sacrifices to suppress the investigation into the damage to the spiritual field. Zhou Ping nodded.
The damage to the spiritual field was not caused by Lin Yuan. We will leave the specific investigation to the law enforcement team.
Huang Jiajin immediately responded.
Deputy Hall Master Joe, we will definitely investigate thoroughly to find out the reasons behind this.
Just then, Lin Yuan spoke up.
Deputy Hall Master Joe, I report that Feng Deking has been abusing the spiritual field, causing damage to it, and lowering its grade.
Feng Deking stared at Lin Yuan intensely.